Hello, today I'll be doing a re-ranking. This time will be for the band Filter. So yeah, I believe when I ranked their albums years ago, I believe it was back in the year 2020 if I got the year right. But of course this was before we got the album The Algorithm, so I figured it was time to go ahead and do a re-ranking. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. We'll be going from worst to best. Keep in mind this is just my personal ranking. You don't have to agree with it, but feel free to let me know your ranking in the comment section below. But yeah, at the bottom, pretty easy choice for me. This is really the only Filter album that I straight up don't like. All the other ones I do like, but at the bottom, I have Crazy Eyes. This is the only album in their discography I just, for whatever reason, just can't get into. I do think Take Me to Heaven is an alright song, but when it comes to the rest of the album, personally, I'm just not too big on it. Not much that really sticks with me or really stands out to me, and yeah, just an album that I probably reach for the least out of their whole discography, and just, for me, again, the only Filter album that I'm not a big fan of. But moving to the next album in my ranking, we have Anthems for the Damned. And I guess you could maybe call this their comeback album. This album came out like 5 or 6 years after the Amalgamut, and for me, it is a step down from the 3 albums before it. And with that said, I do still think this album is actually decent though. I do like this album. There are some good songs on here like Soldiers of Misfortune and What's Next and Cold. In Dreams and Soldiers of Misfortune are probably my favorites on here, but again, you have other solid tracks on here like What's Next and Cold. The Wake, I think, is a decent track too, but yeah. This is an album that I do think has always been one of their weaker albums, but still a decent album though. That's where it lands in my ranking. But next in my ranking, we have The Sun Comes Out Tonight. And yeah, a solid album. Wouldn't rank it as one of the best, but I do still think it is a solid album though. There are some pretty good songs on here like What Do You Say, and I even like the more melodic song on here, Surprise. This Finger's For You is another one of my favorites on the album. But yeah, overall, another solid album from Filter. But next we're moving to The Trouble with Angels, which I think is a good step up from Anthems for the Damned. I think you get stronger songs on here, and overall, to me, you get more memorable stuff on here. Some of my favorites on here, I do like Drug Boy, which if I remember correctly is left over from the sessions of the Amalgamut, and which of course I think is one of their best. But yeah, Drug Boy definitely one of my favorites on here. I do also like No Reentry and No Love and The Inevitable Relapse. But yeah, I do also like the title track. But yeah, overall, solid album from Filter. Lands more closer to the middle of the ranking, but still another solid album for Filter. But now I'm moving to their latest album, and to me, the album that I think is easily their best since the first 3 albums, and that album is, of course, The Algorithm. I do have the CD booklet signed by Richard Patrick. Got it signed in person when I did VIP for Filter earlier this year. But yeah, I was really impressed with this album when it came out, and I still think this album is still easily their best since the first 3 albums. But yeah, when it comes to this album, some of my favorites, The Drowning is definitely one of my favorites. Definitely gives me some The Amalgamut vibes. I do also like Obliteration, easily my favorite of the singles. Definitely gives me vibes of Title of Record and The Amalgamut. I do also like Up Against the Wall and For the Beaten, especially musically Up Against the Wall. You move towards the second half, I really like Threshing Floor and Be Careful What You Wish For. But yeah, and also the more melodic songs here I think are also solid, such as songs like Burn Out the Sun. But yeah, all around, pretty good Filter album. If you haven't heard it or haven't heard it in a while, definitely give it another listen. Pretty good album actually. But next we're moving to an album that some people might put at number 1, but honestly this album and the next album in my ranking kind of go back and forth. My 2 and 3 my number 2 and my number 3 kind of go back and forth, but for now my number 3 is Short Bus. I can definitely understand some people putting this one at the top because this one is probably their heaviest and their most, probably the ones that sounds the most like industrial rock, industrial metal, that type of thing. But yeah, still, with that said, I still think this is easily one of their best. Definitely a strong debut for them. I mean, of course, you have one of their biggest hits on here with Hey Man, Nice Shot, but I think you have other pretty good songs on here, like Dose, which is definitely a banger. I also like Take Another. That's another pretty good banger off here. Definitely one of my favorites. But you get some pretty underrated deep cuts on here, in my opinion, such as songs like It's Over and White Like That. But yeah, all around, really good album for Filter. Definitely a strong debut. Then number 2, we have the Amalgamut. Oh, and yes, my copy of Short Bus is signed by Richard Patrick when I did VIP earlier this year, and I also got him to sign this album here, the Amalgamut. Probably an unpopular opinion to put this above Short Bus, but again, this album and Short Bus kind of go back and forth for me. I do think this album is that strong. I do think it is on that same level. But yeah, kind of underrated though. Commercially didn't do as well as Title Record and Short Bus. But personally, I really dig this album a lot. You have You Walk Away, which is definitely a contender for maybe being definitely being one of the best album openers from the band, I'd say. I believe they opened up their set when I saw them earlier this year. They opened up their set with that song You Walk Away, and that was definitely pretty cool. Always been one of my favorite Filter songs. I do also like Where Do We Go From Here, a single from them that I think should have been bigger. The Only Way Is the Wrong Way, which shows off their more melodic side. I really like that one. But I think you get some really good deep cuts on here, like My Long Walk to Jail and So I Quit, which is definitely one of the heavier songs off of here. Same with Call of Mine. I really like that one too. It Can Never Be the Same, I think, is one of their more underrated deep cuts. But yeah, absolutely love the Amalgamut. To me, a strong follow-up to Title Record, which my number 1 is Title Record. Got it signed by Richard Patrick. We came through VIP. I also got him to sign this. Title of EP, which I believe this was only released overseas, but I could be wrong about that. But either way, cool to have, and cool that Richard Patrick signed both of these. But yeah, Title Record has to be at the top for me. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe a bit more melodic compared to the album before it, Short Bus, but personally, with that said, I still really dig this album. I think when it comes to a front-to-back album listen, I think this is easily my favorite in their discography. So many killer tracks, like Welcome to the Fold, which is definitely a banger. It definitely sounds great live, especially when I saw them. You have other really great songs in here, like I Will Lead You, which I think is one of their more underrated deep cuts, and also probably one of my favorite Filter songs, if I'm being honest. You also have the big song on here, Take a Picture, which I still really dig. Even with how much played it is, I still really dig that song a lot. Of course, I do prefer the album version rather than the edit version or the radio edit, whatever it's called. But either way, I still think that is still a really great song. And the best thing is a single from them that I think should have been bigger, but still really great song. And also another one of my favorite Filter songs. But yeah, all around, front to back, really good stuff. But yeah, that is my ranking of the Filter albums. Let me know your thoughts on my ranking in the comment section below. Of course, let me know your ranking in the comment section below. Let me know some of your favorite, least favorite songs or albums from this band. And also let me know if you've seen them live, and let me know if you've met Richard Patrick and all the good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.